Well, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Oh my gosh, we're super excited to have you here today. Would help if I have the right slides up. Sorry about that, guys. This is Lois Kofi. Super excited to be here with you today on AGC. Hoping that you guys can see me okay. I am excited to have you be here as part of the AGC Talks event. AGC is a global organization, and I'm actually going to make this smaller here. Just bear with me one second. I realized I had the wrong. There we go. Nope, we're good to go. I am Lois Kofi. I am a captain and regional partner of AGC San Diego. And super excited to be here and have an amazing event in store for you. AGC Talks is like a TED Talk style talk. We do this once a month, and I happen to be the regional partner here in sunny San Diego. And we want inspiration during this time of the pandemic, be able to bring that inspiration to you online, wherever you are in this global world that we are living in. We'd love for you to go ahead and play along and comment below where you're tuning in from, what you do, maybe a little bit about yourself. We love hashtag live if you're on the live, and of course, hashtag replay if you're on the replay. I want to give a huge shout out to my good friend, my brother from another mother, Travis Sims of Accelerated Global Connections. He is the CEO and founder. We just actually celebrated the 2-year anniversary not too long ago. So I already said this, I'm skipping ahead of myself. If you are, no matter what city, state, or country you're in, please play along and comment below, hashtag live, hashtag replay, and also hit the share button. Share this with your friends, your family, your community, your network, because you're going to be in store for a great presentation today. If you aren't already, please join us inside of the AGC exclusive Facebook group. That's one group, or the AGC public Facebook group that's growing now over nearly actually closer to 2,000 people all over the world, small to medium-sized business owners. There's daily networking activities. There's anywhere from 4 to 6 every single week all over the world. And actually, the exclusive Facebook group, you have to go and become a member. It's a privilege of membership where we're posting every day, we're giving referrals, we're developing trust and rapport online, which has been amazing fun. I've gotten some of the best referrals and best relationships out of Accelerated Global Connections. You also can be watching and seeing us not only on Facebook, but also through LinkedIn, YouTube, Vimeo, Roku, and Fire TV. If you're not yet a member to our favorite, to any of these, if you want to subscribe, you can absolutely subscribe and watch all of our AGC talks that have been happening now, again, for over 2 years. We also have a podcast. So if you're looking for inspiration, podcasting is very, very popular. I know I myself am a huge fan of podcasting. It airs every Monday. Find it at joinagc.com/podcast. Everywhere podcasts are found: iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. We want to give a huge shout out to tonight's premier sponsor, or depending on where you're at here in San Diego, it's 3 p.m., to Bo Young of Mailbox Power. I don't know about you, but I still love getting love notes in the mail, if you will, meaning appreciation. People who are actually sending personal notes, gifts. I actually just used this today to send out 3 appreciation gifts to clients and referral partners. So reach out to Bo at betterappreciation.com. And of course, if you want to become a sponsor of the next AGC Talks live broadcast or the podcast, please reach out to us at support@joinagc.com. We also have, just so you guys know, after the TED Talk style presentation that we're going to be having with our guest speaker today, we have what we call the AGC Zoom room. That's right. We're 100% online here in San Diego. And this is a room where you can have access to the speaker, other members. And if you're a first-time guest, you can go for free. Otherwise, again, to be able to have access to the speaker and other like minds inside of the community, you do want to become a member. And speaking of which, membership is only $1 per day. And when you think about sales and marketing, I'm a sales trainer. I understand that $1 per day to connect with like-minded people in a global community. There's hundreds and hundreds of members all over the world inside of AGC. And I know at the beginning of the pandemic, I found some of the best resources and people and social capital inside of the Accelerated Global Connections community. So if I hadn't been a member, I honestly don't know where I would be today. So if you're looking for a community, a tribe that's like-minded and looking to give and receive support during these times, it's a great group, and it's only $1 a day. So less than Starbucks, right? I want to thank you and give a shout out to our fellow captains. There's so many on here. I'm not going to go through your names, but just want to say thank you guys for helping us expand all over the country. In fact, I just wanted to also throw out there, I have 2 local captains here in San Diego, but I'm looking for more. Nicole Aspenson and Bradley Lum are my 2 team members that are helping invite quality, high caliber people and speakers. So if you're interested, please reach out to me. If you're really anywhere in California, since we're always online at this location for AGC, I want you to reach out to me and get connected. So without further ado, I'm super excited to introduce to you our featured speaker today. And actually, she's one of my dearest friends, Nicole Aspenson. She's also one of our local captains. And so she is helping me expand our area. I first met Nicole before the pandemic, almost right away when I moved to California from Minnesota and back in 2019. We met literally, I want to say just before the pandemic hit. She's going to be talking about a topic today that quite honestly is something not always fun to talk about, especially when we're looking at our new normal. She's going to be talking about the 6 steps to anchor your financial freedom. So we're going to be talking about money mindset specifically. Nicole's been making finances fun. Her compassionate and genuine, warm-hearted nature, which I have experienced, is what her clients love most about her. She's passionate about educating her clients to achieve financial success, from business owners to business executives, from young families to successful singles. She enjoys creating plans to help clients reach their financial goals. She's oftentimes a sought-after speaker, which is why I called her. I've seen her speak many times, a financial coach and an expert at connecting people and gathering resources for her clients. You'll have to ask her about the Wine, Women, and Wealth events. She's an executive vice president with 5 Rings Financial and a founder of Anchor Financial. So she does work diligently to support her clients. So I know I'm going to bring you out here, Nicole, and say welcome before I let you take it away.
Hello, happy Thursday. It's great to be here.
I know you're such a great teacher. I just wanted to throw this out there before I leave, and I'm gonna put this in the chat, or maybe you already did, Nicole, if you want to.
I didn't.
She does have a handout. So if you want to follow along, or if you want to print it out now or even later, she like me, we love taking pen to paper. Again, you can rewatch the replay to be able to get the education. Right, Nicole?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'll let you take it away.
Great. See you soon. Well, happy Thursday, everyone. I appreciate you joining us today, especially to talk about finances. And not to worry, like Lois said, I make finances fun. So grab the link that Lois is dropping in either now or come back later. If you're not grabbing the worksheet, just grab a piece of paper. It was just an easier way for you to take notes. So sometimes talking about money can be a little bit boring and just something that our society has a little taboo around. You know, you're not supposed to talk about sex, religion, politics, and a lot of us grew up being taught you're not supposed to talk about money. So I'm happy to be here today to share some great principles with you. But first, let me tell you just a little bit about myself. And to keep the time to give you the most nuggets, I'm just going to give you a high overlay. make sure we connect later. You can talk to me more about my story and yours. We get to know each other. So in my first career, I became successful in leading, training, and managing in the corporate role. By the time I was 24 years old, I was a district manager, and I was also doing accounting for our family business. And somewhere along the way, I became lost, as many of us do. We're busy juggling work, our family, school, and in my case, figuring out how to raise a special needs child as a married single mom. We can talk more about that another day. In 2011, I finally found my home. I found a family, the one that I didn't know I was missing and needed. Yes, they taught people about money, and they showed me another version of family. And after several years of professional and personal growth, I was able to find myself again and step into my passion. And now I get to help others do the same. About a year after I got divorced, I met the love of my life. I must say I picked far better the second time around. And I was able to do so because I had a different model of family and I had healed those old wounds. So after 3 years post-divorce, I was making six-figure income. So very different from rolling change and take a calculator and list to the grocery stores from my previous chapters of life. And ask me more about that later. I was making six-figure income, traveling to all paid five-star expense reward trips, leadership retreats. And the agency that I am building under the Five Rings family is Anchor Financial for two reasons. First, I specialize in safe money strategies. We offer security, safety, peace of mind, and hope. And my hubby is a retired naval officer. So there you go, tying the anchor in together. So I'm really excited that I have the opportunity to help others take control of their finances so that they will not feel stuck in any situation because they feel lost around money. To encourage people to take charge of their money mindset, rewrite old stories that are not serving them. And I'm passionate about empowering and educating small business owners, families, and like successful singles, corporate employees about how money works so they can have financial freedom. Well, speaking about education, it amazes me how we have a major lack of education around money. Although principles stay the same, vehicles can change. We're just going to stick to the principles today. So some of you might remember, we used to have this three-legged stool. Our grandparents, maybe some of your parents, depending on which generation you're in, they had a pension, Social Security, and they had additional savings on top of that. Today, entrepreneurs, especially if you're young, have only one of these to count on, and that's what you can save and invest yourself. So put down in the chat if you think you're going to retire by age 65 or 70. I bet it's like one or two maybe. And what about maybe if you're going to retire someday? Drop that in the chat as well. There might be about half of you, and the other half thinks, well, I'm just going to work the rest of my life, like I used to think. And for those of you who are entrepreneurs, you're pursuing what you love. So why would you want to quit that? Am I right? Well, before we dive into the 6 steps to anchor your financial freedom, I want to give you a few statistics. And if you have the worksheet, half the work is written in. If not, try to jot them down or come back later with the worksheet. Did you know 73% of Americans say money is the number one a cause of stress in their lives? 60% of small business owners have not consulted a financial advisor or financial strategist or coach or any of the above. Does that surprise you? Did you know 30% of small business owners have not taken the time to estimate what they are going to need in savings to comfortably retire? 30%, they just have no clue. They're going along trying to figure it out as they go, or just not thinking about it at all. And a really scary one is less than 1/3 of small business owners have a financial plan for what their income and expenses will be in retirement. I think that speaks to the fact that small business owners and entrepreneurs just think that they're never going to retire. So we really need to redefine retirement, and we'll come back to that in a couple minutes. But for those of you who do have a 401k or an IRA, did you know the average self-directed retirement plan only lasts 6 to 7 years? So let me ask you a question. When will you stop needing money? It's when you take that dirt nap. Okay, then if you retire at, say, age 67 or 70, and now you're expected to live into your 90s, how are you going to come up with 25 years of paychecks? That lack of planning is why 70% of Americans live the last 10 years in poverty. I like to throw out what Ben Franklin says here. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. That is also why 45% of baby boomers consider themselves entrepreneurs. They are trying to figure out how to make up for the lack of planning for retirement, especially with taxes and inflation. So we have this huge gap that didn't used to exist in retirement planning. And 70% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. Is that scary or is that scary? One of the reasons is we aren't emotionally tied to retirement. Too many of us think we're never going to retire, so why should we care about savings? So I'm going to ask you to imagine, what does retirement look like for you? If it's not 7 years in a rocking chair before you go, what is it? I think that's something most of us small business owners, entrepreneurs don't really give ourselves permission to dream about. So there's a spot on your worksheet what says, what is your new definition of retirement? And I invite you to spend some time later to go think about what are those golden years? What is it you really want? In having conversations with my clients, especially small business owners, most agree that it centers around flexibility, financial freedom, and time freedom. So take some time, give yourself permission to really dream about what that looks like. Having this vision makes it easier to create a financial plan that will support your lifestyle. And it certainly makes the day-to-day choices of spending and saving easier when you have that vision to look forward to. All right. Are we ready for the 6 steps to anchoring your financial freedom? If you know what direction you're heading and you know your path, it can be a lot easier to navigate when you have a crash or some mistakes and things go wrong in life, and easier to make course corrections along the way. So the first A in anchor is aft or astern. Take an aft look from time to time. Take a time to look back at your life and your business and what's happened. Where are you at now? Sadly, too many small business owners don't take time to look at their financial statements. It's really important to say, okay, what happened last year? What did last month look like? And if you haven't been paying attention to your financial statements, just take a look at last year and say, how did I do? Pull some basic figures that you are going to start tracking and setting goals around. And on the handout, there are some tips, some questions that you can go over with your accountant and CPA. So that's your bonus for later. And the same goes for retirement accounts. I know sometimes when people haven't been paying attention to their 401ks or IRAs, I say, just let's look at the last statement, figure out where you are now and where you want to go from there. And business owners, please learn how to read your profit and loss statements. You don't have to be a bookkeeping genius or track the numbers. You can source that out. Understand what is going on and how to read those reports. And you have to focus on your personal finances as well. Treat your business as a separate entity that it is. Keep your business financials separate from your household finances. Not doing this is one of the biggest mistakes I see small business owners doing. So the second part of looking back is you must focus on how you feel about money. Okay, so sometimes the guys don't really get this one until we talk about that money soundtrack that's been developed. We were pre-programmed when we were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. It's what we heard our parents say and how we saw them behave around money. Maybe they said we can't afford that all the time, or there was a lacking. But take a moment and ask yourself, what do I really believe about money? You'll probably be surprised to see how much that influences your decision making. So ask yourself, do I like the message that's playing? If not, if it's a negative message or soundtracks or things that just pop up and you don't even realize, then it's time to rewrite those stories and to master your money mindset. Lois mentioned Wine, Women, and Wealth. That's one place where we can do that. We have some other places too, so connect with me later on that. So the N in anchor stands for navigate. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, we forget to take time out to work on our business instead of just being in our business. And it's essential to know some things about what's going in and out. And yes, I am talking about a budget. It's not a 4-letter word. It's actually 6. A budget is simply a tool, although sometimes it's misconstrued as punishment. So if you are just taking a look back and smacking yourself over what happened, then you might as well not even have one. However, if it becomes a tool, then that is useful. And if the word budget makes you cringe, we get to rename it. Rename the word, rename the meaning that it stands for. How about a spending plan, or an abundance guide, or a map to my fabulous future? So if you think budget is something to look back on and punish yourself, let's rephrase and rename that. So a budget becomes a tool or a spending plan, and you know that once a month you want an extra pair of shoes, or maybe once a month you want an extra round of golf. You build it in, you simply plan for it. And if there's too much month at the end of your money, you can navigate by refinancing your finances. So knowing where your money is going and where you might make some adjustments, you can find money that is misappropriated, and now you've just figured out how to start your savings or your future spending plan. And that can really help free up your financial future and those dreams. So with that, we're going to move on to C, chart your course. This is my favorite part, because once you've created your definition of retirement, you've created a vision, and you get excited about achieving everything on your bucket list, then it's a little bit easier to stay on course that you have charted and figure out which direction you want to go. And it is imperative to know where you are saving your money. I used to think middle America was not saving. I learned I was wrong. A lot of people are saving. They maybe just are not doing it in the right place or the best place. So this is where we're going to start to master your money tree. There are 4 different types of money, and the best type of money in the whole world is free money. Yay! We all love free money. The most common way you'll get free money is a 401k match. Unfortunately, most of us don't get that free money if we're self-employed or entrepreneurs. Then you might be lucky enough maybe to get an inheritance. Maybe you'll win the lottery. Well, that's not very likely, right? Don't make that a plan. At any rate, free money is the top of the money tree. The second best is tax-free money. Tax-free money grows non-taxed or tax-deferred, and you take it all out tax-free. This is often a Roth IRA, or it could be a tax-free indexed account. It's important to understand the differences and how to leverage those benefits. Now you've got the third best in your money tree, that's tax-deferred. That gives us the write-offs this year, things like 401ks and IRAs, 403bs. The problem is we don't know what our tax rate will be when we want our money to play and travel. One of the biggest mistakes I see when I work with 50 and 60-year-olds that are starting to look towards retirement and planning is that all of their money is in this tax-deferred branch, especially if they're in the corporate world. So that's a conversation for another day. However, I will tell you, they are shocked by how they will be impacted on taxes. And then finally, there's a boring old taxable money, the money you give Uncle Sam when you make money this year. So this brings us to H for the helm. You are at the helm. Of course, you want a first-class crew, right? You want to figure out who your crew is going to be, but at the end of the day, you are in charge of your financial future. You are in the captain's seat here. So your financial crew is going to help you with your taxes, estate planning. Who else should you have on your financial team? People to help you plan for short and long-term financial goals, including buying a home, paying for children's education, funding retirement, and a financial consultant may provide investment, tax, and insurance advice. Did you know that people have a little uncertainty about how do I hire the right person? Well, ask people closest to you. And do remember, if you are looking to be successful in any area, whether it's your money or business, anything you're looking for mentors or help or advice for, remember you want to seek advice from somebody who is successful in that area. So if your friend is a financial mess, you probably don't want to ask them for a resource or advice. Okay, next is overboard. This is sort of twofold. Sometimes we create a plan and we fall overboard. Oh no, we've hit a huge storm and there's a crash. What are you going to do? How do we get back on course? Who are you going to call? Who's in your corner? So it's important to plan rather than beat yourself up over the crash. So stay calm, course correct. And the second prong to overboard is if you have a poor performing crew, you can throw them overboard. Yeah, in other words, you can fire them if they're not supportive crew. If they're trying to tell you to do something that you don't feel is in alignment for your financial goals, you can fire them. Remember, you are in the captain's seat. So how many of us grew up loving roller coasters? I love roller coasters. We find that a lot of people think that the stock market roller coaster is just a little too scary these days for their money, or at least a portion of it. And they're just hungry for other options. Sadly, most people just don't know there are other options to get the upside potential of the market and never participate in the downside. So know your risk toleration, or risk tolerance. And I recommend setting up a foundation first. This sets me apart from 98% of any financial advisors that you will talk to. We know that you cannot afford to have your retirement dollars and your investment dollars in the same place. So it's just like building a house. If you're going to build a house tomorrow, where would you start? With a foundation. It's not exciting and sexy, but if you do not build it properly, your house will collapse. And it's the same with your financial house, your retirement money. If you fail to build the financial foundation first, your house may collapse just like it did for 71% of Americans in 2008. My clients enjoy looking for safe alternatives, and they want to know how to grow and protect their money without risk. So make sure that you have support in that and that you feel supported along your journey. Okay, finally, we are at R, rest, relax, and reward. Most small business owners forget to make time to enjoy their journey. When you go on a long cruise, don't you want to get off at every port and go sightsee and see all the fun stuff to do? Well, it's no different in your business. This is a journey. Plan time to reflect, to relax, and recharge yourself. Plan for small rewards along the journey. So you have a big, huge goal. There's milestones to get to that goal. Celebrate each success along the way. So to summarize, take time to look at where you are now, where you want to go, and create a plan to support that journey. Know what's coming in and going out. Yes, that budget thing. And let's start to master your money tree, because you are in the captain's seat. So have you created a solid foundation? Stay calm, course correct. Let's get you on that track. And then rest, relax, and reward all the accomplishments on your journey. So I want to close with some action steps. Redefine, what does retirement look like for you? And answer those questions if you are a small business owner or entrepreneur that are in the worksheet, and go talk to somebody for support on that. So I wish you a prosperous journey as you chart your course to success. Back to you, Lois.
And the crowd goes wild. That was awesome. As always, of course, I've seen you speak and give a similar talk. So that was great. I just want to give a shout out. We have a lot of people here today, of course. Want to give a shout out to Travis Sims, our CEO and founder. He says, I like accumulation rather than saving or budgeting. I'm in accumulation phase. That was awesome. And then Stephanie Lee. Thanks so much for attending. We have, I think I saw Sean Waite in the house, and a lot of other great AGC members, Tammy Wagner. Thanks, guys, so much for tuning in. So this is your opportunity, everyone. First things first, if you saw value in this TED-style talk today, please hit the share button with the community, because I do know personally, having grown up, maybe because it was the Midwest, but I think this is probably universal. Don't you think, Nicole, that money is just, there's a lot of scarcity around it, like a lot of fear, like all those sayings, those cliches, it's the root of all evil, money doesn't grow on trees, a lot of those things that our parents, at least from our generation, do you see that getting better and shifting with the millennials and with the pandemic? How has that changed, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's still very much there. There's still even if we weren't told don't talk about money, it was modeled to us growing up that our parents didn't talk about money unless, they said, oh, we don't have enough money or we can't afford that. That's the only conversation. I remember being really young, being in the store and asking my mom for something. She was, I don't have enough, we don't have enough money for that. And I said, well, just swipe your card. Or I said, write a check. She goes, well, there's no money in the bank behind that check. Well, then swipe your card. But she didn't go on to explain what that meant. She just said, no, I don't have money there. she didn't tell me that that was just a form of like a loan, right? And there's a lot of conversations we have in our workshops called Money, Mommy, and Me, and Daddy too. It's co-ed. We talk about those pieces of how to teach children from preschool through college about great money habits and conversations and the little lessons that we can teach them throughout day-to-day life. So hopefully we're changing that for generations to come by teaching the adults how to have those conversations.
That's awesome. Well, everyone, please don't, I don't want to be selfish here. If you have questions, go ahead. We want to take a little bit of time here before we wrap it up. Soon we're going to be going into the Zoom room after this. I guess for me, I wanted to ask, what do you do? Because I know you're really holistic. When someone, comes to you maybe for the first time, and let's say they do have some scarcity or money blocks, like they're really, really scared. How do you guide them or take them by the hand, or where does someone start if they don't have maybe a lot of experience or the wherewithal or the funds to move forward and remove that fear?
Absolutely. I was in that space when I started. So one way that we do that is through mentorship and leadership programs when people come on board with us. However, for sitting with clients, it's just about sitting down. We sit and have conversations 3, 4, 5 times before we ever write any business or put any plans in place for them. It's all about you. Where are you at now? Where is your money mindset? What are you thinking? What have you been through? Where do you want to go? And we can make baby steps along the way. It doesn't have to be, people think, oh, I have to have a whole bunch of money before I start saving. You don't. Small amounts of money over a long period of time does you much better service than waiting. The cost of waiting is huge. And just, having those conversations of $5 a day, the little baby pieces that we can build on down the road.
That reminds me of the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It talks about health and wealth in that way. It's never too late to start, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it blew me away to know that the average American starts saving at age 53. So at 40, I thought I was so far behind the ball. I see Travis has a question up. We'll get to that in just a sec. To know that I wasn't that far behind, as far as, I should have started earlier, yes, but there was still time. If I could find an account that I never lose money due to the market, and I had 30 years for compound interest to work in my favor, I'm like, yes, please, I'll take that plan. So the question went down. It was something about Bitcoin. That is
do you have any thoughts?
Digital currency. It's a commodity. So like silver, gold, mutual fund, anything that is investable like that is a commodity. You can make money, you can lose money. And so I just specialize in the safe money side. Nothing against securities and market. I just chose that I want to work with safe money strategies. So for the portion of money that you don't want to lose, that's what I want to help you with. And then, of course, living benefits is huge. It's a cash reserves in case you have a medical event, a medical major illness. We'll talk more about that later too offline.
That's awesome. I do have to say, we've been teaching our kids a little bit about money, and you're obviously a resource that I would trust with that. But we have had them start their own little crypto accounts just to teach them, diversification. And it's so cute to see their little minds making these decisions. Like, do I want to take a riskier or a safer investment? So I think that's really what it comes down to is that scarcity, of that fear of loss. Travis, same thing. We both went through the recession and lost everything. So I had investments, I had savings, I had real estate investments. What do you say to someone like that right now, maybe that has gone through that in the pandemic?
That's, we're talking about building that foundation first. It's not too late to go back and build that foundation. Or if you've been in just accumulation without a foundation, we still build that in. We need to, like I said earlier, we know that we can't have our retirement dollars and our investment dollars in the same place. So setting up that safety net, setting up an income that you can never outlive, that you know the money will be there to retire, and then take other money to go play with. That's awesome. That's what we do in our household.
I was going to say, because I've heard, and I know a lot of people probably studied T. Harv Eker and all of these guys
Mhm.
that have talked about, and even Jim Rohn. I'd rather use Jim Rohn as an example because he's the guy that I grew up with. If you guys know, no longer with us, but he often talked about the 70-10-10-10 approach, where like 70% covered your life in
Mhm.
expenses, and then you invest, save, etc. Do you have that similar kind of approach, or do you recommend that to people?
Yeah, and it's more about pay yourself first, right, and pay your future self first, and then there's of course your bills and savings, having an emergency fund in place, and if you want tithing or charity, so to separate out those buckets. And the piece that people usually miss is the pay yourself first part.
Right on. No kidding. And there's a book, Profit First. Do you recommend that? Have you read that book?
I It's on my list. I recently heard about it. Yeah, I've heard some good things about it.
Awesome. Well, we have time for one more question. I want to give a shout out to Brad, our friend from Minnesota. He's tuning in live. And then, of course,
Great.
my friend Macho from Puerto Rico. ¿Cómo estás?
There's no
There's
scarcity. Way to go. You're right. We talk a lot about that in other mindset conversations and coaching, that abundance is, right? Prosperity is there. There's not a scarcity. And it's just about having that confidence and stepping forward and not thinking in the lacking mindset.
awesome. Awesome.
There's
Awesome.
enough for everybody.
Any other closing thoughts? I don't see any other questions from the audience. I know we're going to get to, excited to see you in the Zoom room after, Nicole, and be able
Yeah.
to network with you and other like minds and share referrals and ideas. Do you have anything else? Any parting words before I let you go?
Yeah, find somebody that is going to speak in a language that you understand, isn't going to talk over your head, that isn't going to try to push a sale on you, that will support you along the journey and let you ask questions 100 times if you need to.
Mm, that's what I love about you. You're definitely approachable, humble, and you have your own story. You've been through hell and back um, with what you've been, and I just love your humility. So, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you
Thank
shortly
you.
in the Zoom
I'm
room.
excited to see you. Are you dropping the chat in the Facebook?
Yeah, actually, I'll drop that. I'll drop it to you now, so you have that as well, and then I'll drop it here for everybody else just as we're wrapping up.
Sounds
All
good.
right. We'll see
Thanks
you
so
soon.
much. Look forward to seeing you on Zoom.
Awesome. Awesome. So as you guys know, we'll be joining in the Zoom room here in the next 10 minutes. So I just wanted to remind you of that. I will be dropping the Zoom link, or Travis, if you want to drop the Zoom link, that would be fantastic as well. So I want to get back to um, the rest of the story, as they say, with what else is all the AGC all about. So now that we got the Q&A completed, and next up is the Zoom room, and that's the style we do here every month, the third Thursday in San Diego. Being able to have this Facebook Live amazing inspiration, and then that networking opportunity at 3:45. Upcoming AGC events, and I'm hopefully I'm not going to sneeze. I'm feeling a sneeze coming on, but we have Minnesota, we have Indiana, we have Iowa, California, Arizona, Missouri. So we even have, believe it or not, very exciting to say, we have some in-person events for sure in Minnesota. So if you are in that part of the world, or if you're traveling to any of these states, please go to joinagc.com. Check out the updated events. Super excited that you guys can join us next month for the third Thursday at 3 p.m. We're going to be having Jose Brizabois. She's one of my personal friends, amazing speaker. She's going to talk about, as a stylist, as a personal stylist for women and men, how to look your best on Zoom, and of course in person as we get back into that world. We also want to say thank you to tonight's premier sponsor, Global IT, with Gandhi Wong. He helps keep things going in your technology world, which we all need, right? So thanks to Gandhi and Global IT. We also want to remind you about our community and having that opportunity. If you're looking for teamwork, if you're looking for long-term, meaningful relationships, structure, amazing energy, authenticity, education multiple times a week, building trust which is really, really key in these times, especially, and collaboration, helping others. And of course, my favorite is ROI, return on investment of time. And of course, what we talked about today, money. You definitely want to consider becoming a member. This is an amazing global organization and hundreds of members all over that you could have access to for just $1 per day. So again, super affordable, one of the best investments I've made. So go to joinagc.com and be able to be a part of our community. Yeah. That is, if you also want to be able to go to and have access to our videos, 200 plus videos on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe now, and we'll see you guys shortly in the Zoom room. Have a great day.